So from lab setup 1, I'm going to do some end of blocks, create a few spaces. I'm going to put a comment in, and this is going to be the first operation. Face side 1. Put it in a block. And I forgot a space. So I can highlight the whole thing, retype it. And then I want to hit the Alt key. And then if I cursor over, I move to the end. All right, so now I'm ready to use VPS to enter that facing code. So let's jump over to VPS. Just to keep it, hit memory. And yes, we want the active program, and then hit edit again, and we go right back to it. And then I go up, and let's go over to VPS. And we're going to go down to the VPS directory, go in, and what we're going to do is we want face milling. Face milling, enter. And for the drawing, we're going to use G56 as our work offset. So we put in 56, enter. Use the down arrow. Tool is tool 5, that's the face mill. So our spindle speed is going to be 1146 from previous calculations. And our feed rate is going to be 38.51. 38.5. So the diameter is 2. It's a 2-inch face mill. We do want coolant. So X is how far off the side we want to be. So we want to be at least, so if we are at 1.5, that means we're right up to the part. So we want to be back at least an inch from that. So we're going to do a X minus 1.5. So we're going to put minus 1.5. Okay, now for the Y, we want to be over. You don't want to put just the center line along the edge, because this is going to, the cutter is going to go along the edge. So the cutter is going to follow along this edge. So we don't want it lined up with the center line. We actually want it shifted over a little bit. So our shift is going to be half the diameter is 1. We would want probably a 45% offset on the diameter, which would be 0.9, which would mean we would shift the center of the cutter 0.1 in the Y direction, and that's what we'll do. So we come here and we enter 0.1 for that. Okay, C is the direction that we're coming from, and we are going to come from the 0 side based on the way we have it laid out. So again, let me move this. So we are going to come from the 0 side, so that's fine. So we can just hit enter for that and go down. Whoops. And L is the length, how far we plan on cutting. So the stock, and look at it is the length, not including the offset. So we're going to go past the part. So we're going to end up cutting, the width of the part is roughly 4. So we want to clear the radius. So that would be another 1, which would be 5, and we want to clear it. So we're going to go 5 1/4. Step is how many steps over we're going to cut, and we're only going to cut 1. And then we get to the R plane, which is basically your feed plane, and we're going to position the part such that 20 thousandths is going to be above Z0. So we want to make sure that our R is above that, and if we make our R plane 0.1, we have plenty of clearance. And then we're going to take off 20 thousandths in one pass, which will be acceptable. So 0.1 is going to be fine, and then enter the Z depth in more coordinates, how far down we're going to go. We're going to keep our Z depth at 0 because we're setting the way we have our PRZ set. So this will actually cut off 20 thousandths. And then enter the number of depth passes is just 1. We're not taking multiple steps. And we are not leaving anything for finishing. So we have pretty much everything we need. As it says here, generate G code, we're going to press F4. And then on the order controls, we're just given 2 options. And we want to insert it into the clipboard. So we're going to hit 1. And it places it in the clipboard. And then we're going to use our cursors to go down. And we're actually going to add another end of block so we get another space. And then this is what we want to do. We're going to hit F4 again to paste from the clipboard. And we have entered our facing operations for setup 1. And the next thing we would want to do is save that by hitting memory. And then we're going to go to graphics. And then to graph it, I just hit cycle start. And it creates the graph up there very small. So again, I do go into zoom, page down. And hit cycle start again. Because I didn't have an end, I have to reset the program, and then I hit cycle start again. And that's basically all it is, right? It's just a line. So the last thing we want to do is we want to make this a complete program, and then each of the programs for the facing, we're going to make individual programs, and then we will bring them together later on as you learn a little bit more information. So what we're going to want to do is we need to go and edit this. So I'm going to come down to the next to last where I turn off the spindle and I do a Z 0 return. And remember on the Haas, a Z0 can be done in absolute coordinates with the G53. So that's what we have there. So we're going to add another line of code. So I'm going to go over to the end of the block. And the line of code we're going to add is we're going to do another G53. And we are going to take the X to 15. And we're going to take the Y to 0. And that'll move the workpiece over in front of the door and will bring the y-axis towards the door so that we can easily reposition the part for the next program. So I got to put an end of block at the end of that line, and I want to, I can either hit enter or insert, and it'll put it after that. And then I want to change that M01 to an M30 so that we end our program. And I want to alter that. So now I've completed my first program for the squaring of the soft jaws and the machining of the soft jaws. So I hit memory to store it, and I'll come back to edit.